Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. This is it.
This is Top Flight Time Machine. I am Andy Hotbody Dawson. Pow, pow, pow.
I am Sam Nifty Delaney. So what? No, ladies and gentlemen, that was not an actual professional drum machine. That was the mouth and lungs of Andy Dawson, professional beatboxer. How long have you been beatboxing? How long have you been beatboxing?
A couple of minutes. Just started then.
What, you mean you haven't done it since like you were a kid?
No, never.
That's
never,
the first...
never tried it. Never even tried it.
Because that
first time, I just did it. We did doing our little vocal warm ups before we start recording.
Yeah.
Our skills.
Yeah.
La 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 la
la. Yeah.
And then I gargled some coffee, which I usually do, and then I just started doing some beatboxing, just really naturally. And you said, "Whoa!"
I thought you were.
You said, "Whoa, you should do that."
I thought you were on the pro circuit. I mean, I've been to numerous live beatboxing showcases over the years, and that's as good as anything I've heard. That you could be on the pro circuit. On the pro circuit, you can make millions as a doing beatboxing around the pubs and clubs.
I might just miss the pro circuit altogether. Go on Britain's Got Talent with it.
Yeah,
that's like a golden ticket, isn't it? Straight at the top.
Yeah, straight to the top of the pile. Yeah, I'd give that consideration because I thought that was great, and I'm sure the listeners thought, "Oh, hang on, they've invested in a drum machine." The old IFS money must be going well at the moment because they've finally bought themselves a drum machine like all the top podders own in their pod studios.
No, it was just me.
Fuck that.
It was just me. I'm not doing it again. If you can fucking rewind back and listen to it if you want to listen to it again. I've done it now. And don't fucking nick it. Don't cut it out and sample it and hit records with it. Because I know it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Bit of beatboxing.
Good. That's a great way to get the week started, mate. I've found that very invigorating.
Apologies that this Monday episode wasn't available last night, as it sometimes is to the IFS. But we've never promised that it would be. It's an additional bonus
for IFSs
treat if we do. If we do manage to get it done on a Sunday evening.
Sometimes on a Sunday evening we get together and it's quite good because it gives us a head start on the week. But sometimes life gets in the way and life has to take priority sometimes, doesn't it?
Sometimes life gets in the way. Sometimes we're just too fucking jaded to sit down
Sunday
on a Sunday
night.
evening.
Sometimes you can be, especially if West Ham or Sunderland have lost or both have lost, and then, I don't know, like Sunday evening you can start to feel really like you're not...
just knackered.
You just want to fucking sit about, don't you?
Especially
do a lovely bit of sitting about. You up?
If I've been up late Saturday night drinking and watching documentaries like I like to do.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then Sunday's just But anyway, that's not what it is. What I did on Saturday night. Actually, I watched that New Order documentary that I recommended the other day. It's very good. Sky Arts, Power, Corruption and Lies documentary. And I went out. I went to Durham yesterday evening, Sam, which is near to where I live. Don't know if you're aware of that. But
it's in the northeast, famous university, beautiful city from what I've heard. I've never been there.
It's a beautiful city. The students there generally are seething because they couldn't get into Oxford or Cambridge. Durham tends to be.
You have to get. I mean, these days you'd have to be a straight A student to get into fucking Durham. That's for sure.
I expect so. Yeah, but they all expect that they were going to get into Oxbridge, and they didn't.
And the other thing about it is. I can't remember. I'm sure I've met someone who's been there. I think they go out in Newcastle, so they got. Not only are they not being educated in Oxford or Cambridge, on top of that, for the good socialising, they have to get the bus or the train down to Newcastle.
Oh no, there's plenty of stuff going on in Durham.
Is
a lot of them. I mean, you can get Durham train station takes you to Newcastle in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, so you do that.
So it's a nice easy hop through to Newcastle if you want to do that. But there's plenty going on in Durham. Loads of pubs.
Okay.
It's a good night out, Durham. But
what were you doing there anyway? If you don't mind my asking.
There was this thing out called Lumiere.
Oh yeah,
which is
like the candlestick out
show.
of Beauty and the Beast. We should talk about that more.
That's
Beauty
exactly
and the Beast is definitely worth further examination of all those fucking bits of furniture that come to life. Cogsworth, Chip, the little cup with his mum, who inexplicably is like 50 years fucking like older than him. And Lumiere, French, flashy cunt, bit of a womanizer. Anyway, Go on,
bit of a Lothario.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lothario is Spanish, I think, isn't it? Lumiere is it's an outdoor light festival art installation thing where they project lots of lights onto things like Durham Cathedral, which is the best cathedral.
Right.
Don't even try and come at me with any other cathedral. It's the best. And on the castle and various other locations, and so that was going on. So you've got to get a ticket to get into Durham city centre itself. It's all sealed off, so you can. So it's not like full of hordes and hordes of people, even though it was, because they just give out so many tickets. And I had a wander about looking at the light stuff, and it's a bit shit, really, Sam. I'll be honest, it was a bit shit.
Well, the thing about light shows is they can sometimes let you down. Like,
I mean, we've said that all the time.
We have.
This podcast's been going, haven't we?
No, I'm glad you've said it, because there's been some chat in this household of checking out some Christmas lights, Kew Gardens, a couple of other places, but it ain't cheap, right?
No.
And I'm like, I don't know, a night out in the dark, cold, shuffling around looking at lights and spending, like, probably for all four of us to go over a fucking ton. I'm like, these lights better be fucking knockout. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the best thing about this was it was free. You didn't have to pay for it. And it was probably worth every penny, to be honest.
Okay.
Some of it was all right, but there was a lot of walking about. You were kind of shepherded around in a one-way system around the entirety of Durham City. Yeah. There was one point where you had to walk along the riverbank of the River Wear, and it was just almost pitch black, and there were no lights other than some kind of fairy lights lighting the path. And it was just to get you to the next bit, and everyone, there's so many people there, we're all just shuffling along at like 1.5 miles an hour.
Right.
Like we were in a funeral procession or something. And
I don't like shuffling
the point
things.
Of this?
Yeah.
No.
Well,
the Kew Gardens thing looks good. I saw it. My celebrity crush, Susanna Reid.
Oh yeah, was she there?
She posted about it the other day. She was there with her mum.
You might have been distracted by her. You might have been. She could have been in the middle of fucking Gaza, and you might have thought it looked quite nice.
Yeah.
Because Susanna Reid's there. Do you know what I mean?
It looked beautiful. Just behind her when she did like a selfie in that. Anyway, so the Kew Gardens thing looks impressive, I think, but you've got to pay for it. This Lumiere thing was
free.
They
do a lot of events at Kew Gardens, and it's not far from my house, so it's tempting, but it's too expensive. I mean, you got to pay even to just go in and look at the fucking flowers, mate.
Yeah.
You can't just walk into Kew Gardens. I mean, you could do a bunk over the wall, but it's not really worth the risk of like injury or arrest.
At your age and your social status, it's a bit
getting
degrading,
caught.
isn't it?
What are you doing? Oh, I'm climbing over. Why? What's in there? Is it a gig? No, I'm just going over to look at some fucking flowers. They got a nice plant in the fucking hothouse.
Yeah. So that's why I'm kind of sorry now that I went, because we could have had an episode out last night and we didn't.
If you don't, you wouldn't know. You got to try these things. I mean, at our age as well, a lot of men of our age, they can become reclusive, and it takes a bit of effort to get up, get off your ass, and go and do things. And I tried to do that. Lockdown almost conditioned me too much to be a recluse, because I don't have to go out for work much anymore. It means it's quite nice in a way, because it means I've realised I have to make more of an effort to get out to do social things, and that's much better because when you're going in and out, if you're commuting to work, whether that's in a full-time job or whether it was like just being a freelance in the old days, I used to have to be in and out of the fucking West End or wherever, and you're knackered from that. So in your spare time, you've lost so much energy, you just want to be at home. But that's the time you should be doing fun things. So now it's the other way round. Get so much work done here in the Vita Modular, right? That actually it's like, you think I'll go to Durham, see what these lights are about. All right, it was shit, but at least I went. Do you know what I mean? At least I went,
and I'll know to never ever go again.
Yeah,
because it's been on 8 times now, and they still haven't fucking got it right. No, a few people have said it hasn't been very good, and it's been better in the past. So there you go. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's something to do with Brexit. But talking about loneliness and being isolated and all that kind of thing, you're aware of the writer and agony aunt, for want of a better word, Philippa Perry?
Oh yeah,
who's also the
She's
wife
married
of,
to
Grayson
what's his
Perry.
name? Yeah. I've got her
She
book actually.
Yeah, she does an agony aunt thing in I think it's the Observer every week, and I just saw it online yesterday. And this week's was quite the fucking problem.
Oh yeah, come on.
I'll read it out.
Yeah.
Listen to this. It needs the Simon Bates Our Tune music underneath it, to be quite honest,
or at least the Incredible Hulk music.
Oh, that as well, if that'll suffice. Yeah, listen to this. I'm a 70-year-old guy who, for a long time, has been single and living alone. I took early retirement and volunteered full-time for a charity for several years before walking out in disgust in 2019.
Ooh. Fucking hell.
Whoa, all right, there's more. I've never had that many close friends, and in the past 5 years, I have been bizarrely abandoned/rejected by just about all of the, inverted commas, friends I thought I had.
Oh my God.
Including school friends, plus my only brother.
Oh my God. There's something he's not telling us. Come on.
There's more. Well, there's loads more. I'll just read one bit more. Lockdown was hell by myself, and I fell into spending most of my time playing solitaire on my laptop, watching TV, and listening to the radio.
Sounds great.
Since lockdown, sounds all right, doesn't it? Yeah.
Is this from my dad?
What's the problem?
Is this? It's the punchline to this story that it's signed off by my father. Go on.
Since lockdown, I've continued filling my days in the same way, and I almost never socialise with anyone. I've been isolated for the past 4 years, living life like a zombie.
Oh.
And I can't see how this will change.
This is a shame.
Fucking hell.
This is a shame, but for me, first of all, I mean, obviously, that must be really tough for the guy, no matter what the circumstances are.
It's a lot, isn't it?
But from an investigative journalist point of view, I'm like, okay, you used the word disgust, but you didn't qualify why. You were working for a charity and you left in disgust, but you don't say what you were disgusted by. Now, disgust is a big word and it's a big emotion, isn't it? But you're not fucking around. You're not saying, I was a bit miffed. You're going, I was disgusted. Can we get a definition up of disgust? Just going to try and look that up. Okay, just to be absolutely sure, a feeling of revulsion or strong disapproval aroused by something unpleasant or offensive. And then they give the example, the sight filled her with disgust. Okay. Right, so it was a feeling of revulsion. He doesn't explain why. He was working for a charity. He has big reactions to things, this guy, big emotional reactions to things that displease him, okay? Is there a link between that aspect of his personality? I'm not victim blaming, but is that my first thought when you read that is there's a link here between his huge emotional responses, which is fine. Some of us have that. We all have them from time to time. I certainly do. And could there be a connection to the fact that some people have decided to back away from him because perhaps they can't cope with his huge emotional reaction
those kind of emotional,
to matters? What was he disgusted by? What was the charity? This is one of the things.
I don't know. My guess is Oxfam. That's
and
my
what
guess.
Would he have been disgusted by?
Well, there's been all kinds of allegations about sexual abuse in Oxfam workers in the developing world. You can Google them. There's been all kinds of allegations about stuff that's going on.
You're an Oxfam worker. You go over there and you start like touching the arse of the kids that you're trying to.
I think something like that. Right. They just use it as a
Well, I've been given. I mean, not to brag about my philanthropy, but I've had a £2 direct debit a month set up to Oxfam for over 20 years. But I set it up when I got my first job, and I must have done it on a whim. Thought, I'm a working man now. Time for me to start being
Time to give something back.
Time for me to give something back. And I just thought, and probably Oxfam's literally the only charity I know of. Right, let's think of a charity. Oxfam, that's a good one. Right.
What's the charities? Oxfam, that's the main one.
And I set it up, and I always forget about it. And then once in a while, on the rare occasion I bother to examine my fucking bank statements in any detail, I'm like, what the fuck's this? And then I remember, I'm swear to God, it would have been about 97, 98 that I set it up. But like, mount it all up, that's quite a lot of money. And maybe if I knew it was going to nonces, I would have been putting it somewhere else.
It's 25 quid a year. Well, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking about this guy. Go Go and fucking volunteer for a different charity. If Oxfam aren't behaving the way you want, go to Sue Ryder. Go to British Heart Foundation. Plenty of charities out there.
I feel if he came to us in Life Logistics, which by the way he should have done, it's a much better service. Of all due respect, Philippa Perry, but he should have.
No disrespect to Philippa Perry. She's got a lot on.
Yeah, she's got a lot on, but she gets loads of letters. We probably get less than her, so you got a better chance of making it through onto our Life Logistics thing, right? I would feel we didn't have enough information to fully assess his predicament. What do you think?
I agree, but that's what Philippa says as well. She says, I feel sad reading your letter and I'm puzzled as to what may be going on for you. You seem to be falling out with everyone. Yet you are nice to me and don't come over as a curmudgeon in your email. And she says, you walked out in disgust from the charity and whatever terrible behaviour you witnessed there seems to have contributed to ruptures happening in nearly all your relationships, as though whatever disgusted you at the charity went on to sour your entire life somehow. Did it change the way you approach life and the people in it? Don't know. There's got a lot going on. And,
I feel like...
We can't be sure.
I feel like this walking out in disgust business, I'm trying to think of occasions that I've walked out in disgust. I can't think of many. You
I must have done disgust at that Father's Day meal with your dad.
Yeah,
after that was your dinner on him.
I'm trying to think if that was disgust. I wasn't I wasn't consumed by a sense of revulsion. I was just very angry, and I couldn't cope with being there any longer. So I wouldn't say I wasn't disgusted. But that's probably the biggest storm out, the biggest flounce of my life.
Yeah.
Jalapeño.
Here's a brief but annoying message to let you know that you wouldn't be hearing this brief but annoying message if you were a subscriber to our Iron Filing Society Patreon offering.
For the price of a pint and a St. Clement's each month, you can get up to 4 episodes a week, 9 months before the rest of the world gets them. Early access to regular episodes, lots of other marvellous benefits, and there's absolutely no adverts or brief but annoying messages like this that will get right on your ticks.
Find out more and subscribe now at tftimemachine.com/ironfilings.
Jalapeño. Jalapeño.
The thing is about it though is that if your identity is built too much around huge sort of moral or ethical sort of badges that you wear, and you allow that to trump every other aspect of a relationship you have with someone, then it's very easy to start falling out with people left, right and centre. Or resenting people, and by the way, I'm not fucking moral. I'm no better than the next cunt by any means. But I do think that sometimes it's you got to think, right, what do I value about my relationship? So the example is sometimes you've got a mate, and we've talked about this before. I know you've had situations like this, and a mate might say something. You're having a nice time down the pub or wherever, and a mate might say something perhaps about something that's in the news, right, or an issue or whatever, and you realise that it might just be a throwaway remark, but you might pick them up on it because you think, hang on, that's fundamentally opposed to my worldview, right, on this issue.
Yeah.
I've had it before, right? And then you sort of think, before you know it, you can almost allow yourself to think, yeah, you're a cunt, mate. And then you might carry that around for a while. Not everyone might be saying that's never happened to me. Well, I'll tell you, it has happened with me, right? Where I've gone, you know what, that thing that person, and it's not happened with one person, it's happened with fucking loads of different people, where you think, fuck that person for thinking that about that thing, right? That's
but we all change over the decades, don't we? So it's not an unnatural and weird thing.
Yeah, but then you ultimately have to think about the friendship and what role it plays in your life, and whether being aligned on fucking issues that don't really directly affect either of you day to day is more important than the sort of fun you have, or even the love that you share, right? Or really just the laugh.
The love that you share together between a man and another man.
Down
the things that
you
think they're not important when love is in the air.
That's exactly it. I don't know, but you have a laugh with each other. You make each other laugh all the time, for example, and hey, there's nothing more important than that. And sometimes you just got to think, oh, do you know what? Fuck it. And there's another phrase that comes up. It's sort of relative to what I'm saying. It comes up a lot in like AA and all this stuff. It's like you got to keep your own side of the street tidy. That's all you can do. And if you start thinking too much about what other people are doing, what other people are saying, especially what other people are thinking, right? And then you broaden it out into even people you don't know, but what's going on in the fucking world. So war or climate or any of the other things that are scary or can make you angry or frustrated, then you're basically condemning yourself to a life of sort of frustration and anger. Whereas if you just think, here's my little world, I'm going to keep it tidy, I'm going to do the things that I think are right. And I have to keep reiterating when I go into saying something like this is that obviously I'm do all of this shit, but I'm aware that it's not healthy. So I'm picking up on the fact that he said he walked out in disgust. I'm worried he might be one of these people who's like, I can't believe that you're standing for this and I stand for something different, and for that reason I'm going to isolate myself. Before you know it, he's sat home thinking, I'm isolating myself from every cunt in the world because I haven't found a single person who agrees with me on every subject in the world, and until I do, I will have friends with. You're basically looking for the perfect mate, aren't you?
Yeah,
but you shouldn't. Is what I'm saying.
There's that. I mean, that's fine. If people don't have the same views on everything, you can't expect that. That's ludicrous. But if you've got someone in your life that's actively toxic,
that's different,
and is fucking is bad for you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think there's any problem.
Yeah. That's a whole different thing. That's like you got to set a boundary, and sometimes that can be hard to spot, can't it? Do you know?
Well, that's what they've done with this cunt, isn't it?
Yeah,
his friends and his only brother.
I've cut people out of my life. Sometimes I've cut them out for a period of time, and then it's healed, and then that's been all right because I've just thought I need to set closer boundaries, tight boundaries, and the only way I can do that is to have some time completely apart, and then when we come back together, it's clear to the cunt, right? We're mates again because there's a lot of value about our relationship, but never fucking ask to borrow money off me again. Do you know what I mean?
Do you have that conversation?
For example,
is there a process where you'll say, right, now...
I have done it like that.
Your suspension period has come to an end.
No, it's happened.
Need to talk about
it's happened naturally, but I felt really clear that they knew exactly as well. And the most important thing is I know. So the most important thing is you don't have to spell it out, but you have to spell it out to yourself. Because if not, you can fall back into like patterns where suddenly you're mates again, everything's forgiven and forgotten. Next thing you know, this cunt is going, you're getting on like a fucking house on fire, and then they exploit it again and go, oh, by the way, you couldn't lend us a few quid, or by the way, you couldn't sort me out with this bit of work or whatever, and you're like fucking swept up in being mates again because you're having such stuff. Yeah, of course, mate, no problem. You got to police yourself, and you got to go, no, that will never happen.
You've got to check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Exactly right, yeah.
Ultimately.
So you've got to draw the old lines. Wait till you see what I've got, right? Talking of drawing lines, look at the size of this fucking shoehorn. I'm actually going to have to go back a bit. Right? Can you see that?
Sam, that looks like a fucking sword.
I know.
It's silver and shiny.
I know. I found it, right, I've got a drawer underneath my bed where I keep shoes. And like it's a right mess down there. There's shoes going back decades, I think, right?
Shoe drawer.
I had a rummage around, and I saw this gleaming underneath a load of pairs of shoes. I got it out, and I remember one year, I thought I need a shoe on because I think at the time I was wearing some leather town shoes. Right? It hurt my finger. You know when you put your finger in the back of the shoe to slide your foot in? Ouch! Right?
It can sting.
So I asked for a shoehorn. And, you know, my mother-in-law every year goes, oh, I don't know what to get you, what should I get you? And it's really good to always ask your mother-in-law for something hugely practical and dull, because it's easy for them to purchase.
I don't have a mother-in-law anymore. I'm a mother-in-law orphan.
You could ask her anyway. How do you think she'd react?
Fucking hell. Yeah, maybe.
Hello. A few years have passed now, so I figure it's time to heal the wound. Please, can you get me a shoehorn for my Christmas present? All the best, Andy.
Although, to be fair, I did send round via my ex-wife last week a load of bounties out of the celebrations tub that we've got.
Oh, because you knew she liked them.
Nobody here likes them.
And you remember
she likes the bounties.
That's actually a lovely thing to do, mate.
I think it is,
Do you know how she reacted or not? Did you get a text saying thanks?
Nah, nothing.
they came back with a note saying you can shove these up your fucking arse, Dawson.
Fuck you. No, she took all the empty wrappers and glued them together into the shape of the letters "fuck you" on a piece of card.
And accompanied it with a photo of her with a mouth full of Bounty.
Yeah.
Chocolate and fucking coconut, stuff full of the stuff.
Like coconut falling out of my mouth.
Yeah, so she got me
but
this.
the shoehorn.
I fucking found it on Friday night, and I scared my wife a bit. I pulled it out, and I held it up. We were going to bed. I was in my gym jams, and I've shouted the immortal words, "Let's be having you Millwall," right? And I said, the thing is, Anna, this shoehorn is taking over from the Terminator. It's lighter, right? It's more versatile. But you can get an enormous fucking slap round someone's nut with it, right?
I think that tip of it, you could sharpen that into a point, and you've got yourself a sword.
Oh, and look at this, mate. There's a hook on one end for hanging. So imagine that you could gouge someone with that. And I said,
you can have that up their arse.
I said, my hooligan name, I'm known on the terraces as the Shoehorn. Right, because this was my trademark weapon, right?
Yeah.
She was taking the piss out of me. She said, what are you going to do with that? Fucking help Millwall was slipping on their loafers. Hello, Millwall. I see a lot of you have taken to wearing leather slip-ons. That's nice. Now, who wants me to give them a fucking hand getting it on proper? Oh, no, it's the shoehorn. It's quite some shoehorn, though, isn't it? I mean, the thing is...
It's very impressive.
Nowadays, I only either wear slippers or trading shoes, or sometimes my walking boots when I'm walking the dog. None of which require this, but it's a fucking hell of a weapon. I've been sitting on it for years and forgotten about it, and from now on, this is. I mean, I've still got the Terminator, and I'll still keep it in reserve, but this is the one. This is a fucking amazing bit of home security.
It is. I mean, did you recently see Jamie Redknapp's latest Skechers trainers advert? Because he's advertised them Skechers.
I forgot he did Skechers.
They're supposed to be very, very comfortable, according to Jamie Redknapp. I don't know if that's true or not. But he advertised a pair that you can put on without having to, like, bend down.
I've seen these.
Use your hand.
I've seen these. I tried to get a pair for my dad, and it proved surprisingly difficult. But they look. I saw it. The first thing I said when I saw them was, "I'm getting some of them."
Are they like this year's Cabbage Patch dolls then? You can't get them. They're the big thing.
It might be that. It might be that because it was perfect for him because he broke his arm, so it was really difficult to get his shoes on. I said, never mind that. It's a fucking pair of shoes that you just put your foot in and it kind of springs up around your foot.
But like you've just said, you don't need the shoehorn because you mostly wear trainers. I put my trainers on without having to fucking use a shoehorn or my finger. I just put them on. They just
no, that's what I'm saying.
The laces are always tied.
You only need a shoehorn if you're wearing a leather town shoe, such as a loafer, an Oxford, or a brogue.
So what the fuck's Jamie Redknapp on about then? What's the fucking deal with these sketches,
some people do use a finger. They bend down and they might pull the heel back a little bit. They do it. You might not.
Do they?
But some of the older generation, they do it. And Skechers are mainly for them. Although me and you are heading fast towards a Sketcher fucking period of our lives. And I, for one, please forgive what Andy has just said, Skechers, if you're listening, because it would be amazing to do some sort of content promotion between Top Flight Time Machine and Skechers. I would fucking love that.
You just want a pair of trainers for your dad.
I want a free pair for me of those ones that you just step into. Even though I hear what you're saying, Andy, but it would be so much fun. Do you know what I mean?
You're disassociating yourself from your comments again.
I am, yeah. I'm distancing myself because I really want a pair of these.
What's the odds of Skechers listening to this, do you think?
Well,
although you talked about Morrison's the other day, I can't remember if it was an IFS or a regular one. And in the Twitter comments, the guy who you'd been in touch with at Morrison's replied.
No. What, he said I was the cunt?
Did you see that?
He said he was the guy. This is
he said he was
over
the guy
10 years ago.
He was trying to set up the ambush
He's bullshitting.
at Morrison's. I'm going to see if I can find it.
Well,
where the fuck
all
is
right,
it?
if you're listening, mate, extend the invite to me again. You know how to get in touch, and I'll come. But I'll tell you this now: I'm coming with this fucking massive shoehorn, and in a minute I will post this on Twitter. So keep your fucking eyes peeled. Andy's seen it, and he was fucking taken aback, weren't you? Right?
Whoa! He's not at Morrison's anymore. I don't think by the looks of it.
All right, I'll calm down.
He says I won't name him, but he says, "I'm not joking, Delaney man. I was, inverted commas, the cunt from Morrison's who emailed in defence of their pitter range and offered a tour." He says, "I remember it well after I was appointed as PR to change the mindset of southern customers who were scared of northern food stuff."
This was the worst thing that could have happened to him. Like, my column was literally like, it's done the exact thing that they were terrified of.
It was actually on the IFS Protection Odyssey last Wednesday.
I would say, and I hope this came across, I do feel guilty for that and a lot of things that I wrote back then, because I was dismissive and cynical, and I was doing it for laughs, right? I was doing it for cheap fucking laughs. And it was showing off. It was unfair. It was unfair.
You were a media big head.
I was a big head, and I was drunk on power.
Drunk on power and word count.
Yeah. And, I would like to think that I could, now, if you haven't got anything nice to say, don't fucking say it. Right?
That's true.
That's my attitude. I mean, people might listen to this podcast and go, well, that doesn't fucking stack up, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I write things in the paper, I suppose I like to think, I want to write about something I like. If it's something I don't like, I'm not really interested, because what am I going to do? Write a load of But back then, fucking hell, when I was in my 20s, just like slacking things off all the time.
I think it's all right to slag people off behind their back. Let's just say that.
Well, at least then it doesn't hurt them.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Unless someone grasses them up. And as we always say, don't be a grass.
Don't be a grass. I think we have been grassed before on this podcast, but
self-grassed many times.
Yeah.
Grassed ourselves up.
Yeah.
Right. That's.
Can I just do a very quick recommend? Right.
Oh yeah.
I've accidentally it's finally happened. Over the weekend, I became really into TikTok, which is something my kids were sort of dreading, but it's their fault, because my daughter was laughing at something on her phone. I said, "What's that?" She went, "I don't know if you'll take..."
You're recommending TikTok, are you?
Listen, right? She said, "I don't know if you'll take offence at this or not, but it's really funny." So she shows it to me, right? And all the kids do these sort of little sketches, like the one-man sketch sort of thing, which you see on Twitter a bit, but there's loads of kids doing it on TikTok.
Right.
And there's a guy, and he's called Crack Daniel, right? He's really young, and he does a lot of different sort of things. He's very popular, but the thing that she was looking at was he does a dad character, right? He does a dad character, and in this particular sketch, the title of the sketch was "Your Dad when he's been waiting to pick you up for outside a party," right? And it's basically, I won't do it justice, but it's basically the son gets back in the car, and the open line is, "Sorry, Dad, don't give me any of that. Don't give me that. How long did you say you'd be when I texted? 5 minutes. How long have you been? I'll tell you. 35 minutes!" Right? And it's basically, just dropped my fucking phone. There's this, and he's a dad character who just fucking goes from 0 to 10 in anger. But she said, "Look, don't take offence." She went, "It's not exactly you, but there are some vibes of you." So then I went down a fucking rabbit hole of this geezer and this dad character, and there's so many funny things about it. One of the touches is this guy, the dad, he always is wearing high-vis trousers. And he's always fucking fuming about shit. It is so. I know people say this as like, and it's always an exaggeration, but I don't know whether it's because I saw so many elements of myself. Because some of the phrases he used when he lost it were basically the exact, like, fucking verbatim the sort of shit I come out with, and I genuinely mean this. I was crying with laughter.
Right.
I was crying. I mean, not everyone will find it funny. I think if you're a dad, you'll find it funny because you look at it and you think, "Oh my God, it's not just me.
This is me."
Right.
Yeah. What's the character called? What's the guy called again?
He's called Crack Daniel. And he's got loads of things, but if you look for anything that says dad on it, and to me, I mean, he's only he looks like he's a teenager, but he's fucking huge. And so then, as a result of going on and looking at all of them, I then started scrolling through, and there's a lot of fucking funny, very young, funny people on there. Yeah. And I thought, and then my daughter was like, "I wish I'd never shown you this, because now suddenly you're like because I'm like turning around to go, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And I'm showing her things that were famous like 2 years ago and all this shit.
Yeah, it's just embarrassing. That in itself is a dad thing.
Yes, exactly. Well, they do a lot of that. There's sketches like trying to help your dad on social media or whatever, and he's just going mental. But it's a strong recommend from me. I found it fucking hilarious. So that's that. Good.
I'll have a look. I'll finally get onto TikTok. And I mean, I see stuff people post on Instagram and things like that. People just get screen grab things from TikTok and then stick it on Instagram. It filters through to backwards kind of social media.
I have got an account that I set up years ago that I'd forgotten about. My daughter said, no, you've got an account because you did it to annoy me and troll me. And when she was younger, I'd set up an account under the name D-Money Dance. Which I'd forgotten about, but when she told me, I was like, laughing at my own joke.
That's the kind of name that needs a bit of beatboxing, I think.
It does, yeah. That's what I might do. You should, to annoy your kids, you should just set up a beatboxing account on TikTok, and all you do is beatbox every day.
Oh, and I've got lots of various wigs that would wear as well, Sam.
Yeah, and then in the background you could maybe just play something off GarageBand, like a little electronic melody that goes with it or something.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll think about that. That would be good.
If I've got time later on, I'll do that. Just before we go, Results Bot is now 14 points ahead on the prediction league. It got 5 at the weekend. You got 6. I got 3. It's 14 points ahead. We need to fucking do something very quickly. Deactivate it, maybe? That wouldn't be right.
That would be like cheating, but if he gets too big for his boots, we're not ruling it out.
Yeah, quickly, one other thing I've just seen on Twitter. I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, which of course includes fucking Nigel Farage this year. 7 million viewers last night, down from 9.1 million who watched the first one last year.
Right.
So there's the Farage effect, apparently.
There's 2.1 because of Farage. It might also be, though, mate, is that some of these shows, they get so repetitive. And it's been going for so long.
Farage. No.
So 2 million people have said, I'm not watching it because of Farage.
Yeah. Well, let's say 1.5, and another 500,000 are just saying because something better's on.
Yeah, I'm not watching because of Farage. I don't care. They put all sorts of fucking stupid cunts on there. I mean, fucking hell. I just sort of I'm just bored of it now because I've seen it all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we said that the other day, that's true, but also it's also all because of Farage. Right, okay, that's it from the episode. We'll be back throughout the week with lots of other great stuff, Life Logistics, Protection Odyssey, Melchester, and if you're IFS Turbo, you also get your cheeky little Races Rocket Odyssey as well on a Friday. Check it out. Thanks very much for listening. Click on like, click on subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mum, tell your mother-in-law, and if you've got an ex-mother-in-law, give her the bounties. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Goodbye.